3D theater. We're sitting there watching the movie, you know, fighters going and parachutes going down all around us. It was really kind of sporting. It was kind of fun. More fun than that flak coming up that we couldn't do anything about. And of course the fighters, when they was attacking us, well, we was fighting back at them. But that was exciting. Another big one was over the Toulon sub-pens in France. I was deputy lead that day, number 2 on a lead I was number 2 flying on his right wing. He was leading 36 ships, and we went over the sub-pens, and he got shot down. They always head for the leader, the fighters do. And of course, flak and the fighters both hitting us. And they got him, and he was on fire, so he pulled out and started down. His airplane was on fire. And so I was number 2. I had to pull in and take over lead. And what was left of the 36 airplanes, I led them home. What was left of them, we lost quite a few. But Major Orris was the leader, and we were always told to count parachutes. So we counted, everybody counts parachutes that they can see. So we counted 9 parachutes. Nobody could see more than 9. The airplane blew up. So the aircraft commander is always the last man to leave the airplane. It's just like captain on a sea at sea. He's the last man to leave the boat. So we figured Major Orris got blew up. 9 men got out and he didn't. So I think he was reported probably missing in action or killed in action or something. Until we finally found out later what had happened was he used his head. We had a lot of flak coming up all around us. So he bailed out, they bailed out, and instead of opening the chute, he delayed his jump. He didn't want to get his chute tore up with flak or get his body hit. So he made a delayed jump, and he just went straight down to about 1,000 feet off the ground from 25,000. He just free fell. He got about 1,000 feet above the ground. He opened his chute, and he was standing there waiting for the rest of his crew to come down. Last man out of the airplane, first one to hit the ground.
We'll be back with more of part 1 of the story of World War II, Korea, and Vietnam veteran, American war hero, United States Air Force Major General French.
During our lives, we plan for many things: our education, our career, and our retirement.
When it comes to our final wishes, many of us are not prepared for those times. Making those decisions early not only allows you to make better choices, but it makes it easier on your family.
Many of the choices that have to be made can be made today. I'm Lynn Laird.
And I'm Danny Munger. Visit our website, call, or stop by one of our 3 locations. Family owned and operated: Laird Funeral Home, Taylor Funeral Home, and Corrigan Funeral Home.
Since 1980, for 32 years, folks from all over East Texas have been driving to Nacogdoches to enjoy the great food at Barn Hills Buffet. Start your meal with a visit to Barn Hill's huge salad bar. Then enjoy fresh catfish, fried chicken, and other meat selections with your choice of 10 vegetables. Top it all off with Barn Hill's delicious cobbler, ice cream, or other desserts. Steak and ribs after 5 p.m. daily. Always outstanding service with a smile. Barn Hill's Buffet open 7 days a week at 3217 North Street, Nacogdoches.
Loggins Plumbing, the professional plumbers, family owned and operated, has been serving East Texans since 1984, specializing in commercial and residential construction and repair, medical gas certified and backflow prevention certified. Loggins Plumbing fleet of service vans, manned by their staff of professional licensed plumbers, is available 24 hours a day. More than 170 combined years of experience by Loggins journeyman and master plumbers. Visa and MasterCard and Discover accepted. Call Loggins for all of your plumbing needs.
Hi, this is John Matthews, CEO of Southland Federal Credit Union, inviting you, your family, and friends to become part of our growing credit union family and take advantage of our competitive loan and savings rates. Everyone has dreams: a new car, a family vacation, saving for their future. At Southland Federal Credit Union, we are here to help you achieve your dreams. Come on by one of our 2 locations where people helping people really matters. Not a member? Not a problem. Join today. Southland Federal Credit Union, proudly serving Angelina, Trinity, and Houston counties since 1963. Funds NCUA insured.
Now more of part 1 of the story of World War II, Korea, and Vietnam veteran, American war hero, United States Air Force Major Gerald French.
My first airplane, I named my airplane Liberal Lady after it was a Liberator bomber, and it was Liberal with a bomb load, and I graduated from Liberal High School, so I named it Liberal Lady out of my hometown of Liberal, Kansas, where I graduated. I named my book that too. I wrote this book, Liberal Lady. It's an autobiography that I wrote for my 4 daughters, my 10 grandchildren, and my 12 great-grandchildren. And I didn't write it to make any money, but I wrote it as my war experience. I lost Liberal Lady 1, Liberal Lady 2, and Liberal Lady 3. Liberal Lady 1, one day I was not flying. I was standing down for rest. Another crew took it. Normally we flew our own airplanes. Another crew took it and they got shot down over Germany, and they made it to Switzerland and bailed out, and all 10 of them got out and they were interned. They weren't prisoners of war, and Switzerland's a neutral country, so they intern them there. And the B-24 crashed in the mountains. Number 2, I class 26 that. I crashed it. I took off, lost an engine on takeoff on the way before we ever got away from the home base, I lost an engine. So we had 36 airplanes to take off, and I was probably in the middle of somewhere. I was leading a 6-ship box, but anyway, I couldn't go to the target, Germany, on 3 engines and lead a formation or even keep up with the formation on 3. So I circled the field, waiting for everybody else to get off. We only had one mud runway 5,000 feet long, and we had to let all the bombers get off. And then I came in and landed. Well, I had a full bomb load and a full gas load. And our instructions had been by the wing commander to bring, if we didn't hit the primary target or the secondary target, don't drop the bombs in the sea, bring them home. And the airplane was heavier than I was accustomed to landing. So I only had 5,000 feet of mud runway, but I said, I don't know the stall speeds, but I better keep it up or I'll stall. I better come in a little faster. I came in over the fence a little fast, and time I touched down, started clamping on the binders, the mud and stuff, and all that weight and momentum just kept right on going, you know. The B-24 had what we called a toothpick landing gear, just one landing gear on each side, one tire. And I figured that full bomb load, full gas load, that if I tried to make a 90-degree turn, I was doing about 30 or 40, by then probably down 30 or 40 miles an hour. If I'd tried to add a side stress, would have collapsed the gear, probably got the wing and crashed. So I told the co-pilot, I said, okay, Dick, cut off all the fuel valves, shut down all 4 engines. He had the ignition switches over on his side. I said, shut down all 4 engines and shut all the fuel valves. Turn off all the generators. We're going to crash straight ahead. We did all this at about the last 1,000 feet of runway. We knew it was going to crash. So I rigged the alarm bell 3 times for the crew. Two of my waist cutters jumped out, one out on each side, jumped out of the airplane when they found out we was going to crash. I rang the crash bell, alarm bell 3 times, and I told them on interphone, prepare to crash straight ahead. And we went through, over in Italy, they have rock fences about 2 or 3 feet high, not very high, but about 2 feet thick, made out of rock. So I went crashing through the fence, collapsed the nose gear and one main gear. I went through the fence out into the olive grove and tore up some trees and tore up the airplane, skidded around, dust flying all over the place, inside the airplane and outside. And it didn't blow up. And you know, one of those B-24s full of gas, so usually they blew up anytime you had a problem. So I looked at the co-pilot and he looked at me, and we just sat there kind of flabbergasted. We said, what do you know, we didn't blow up. Let's get out of here. One day I was coming back across the Alps from southern Germany, and I had a couple engines shot out. And this one time when I was glad I was in 4-engine bombers now instead of fighters. This only got 1 engine. I had 4, so I had 2 engines. I couldn't keep my altitude on 2, so we threw everything overboard, or guns or ammunition, everything we could get loose of the airplane, we threw it overboard. And we kept coming down. And I had to go through the Alps to get back to Italy. The lines were way down in southern Italy. And I didn't go over the Alps like I normally did. I went through them. Went through the Alps like this, and more or less followed. Actually, I went through Brenner Pass. Brenner Pass is a high place for automobiles and trains. It's a low place in the mountains, but a high place literally above sea level. But I went right through Brenner Pass, right over Brenner Pass, about 100 feet off the ground, following the railroad. I got through the Alps and made it home. Okay, but that was pretty exciting.
Order Major Gerald French's autobiography, Liberal Lady, Reflections of a Military Pilot from Amazon.com.
Join us for part 2 of the story of World War II, Korea, and Vietnam veteran, United States Air Force Major Gerald French on the next episode of America's War Heroes.
Hey, come back, sir. What's up, man? You made this?
No, my mom did.
Oh, you've been eating on it, huh? Sabroso, man. How's school?
Good,
Summer school sucks, man.
pretty much.
You learn anything new?
Yeah,
Like what?
math.
Math. You didn't know math before or what?
Alex! What did I tell you about coming outside like that? Get in here and clean your room.
Cálmate, jefita.
Excuse me?
Hey, go inside.
I don't need your help.
¿Qué quiere hacer?
Órale, ese.
Alex, listen, I don't want you talking to me like that.
Like what?
Jefita, cálmate. That's how cholos talk, not you.
What's a cholo?
People that talk like that?
Is Pedro a cholo?
No. He's just a garbage man.
birthday? Were you 21? Again? Guess so. You'll always be 21. I got something for you. Remember this? That's what they gave to me. Trying to save your life. Imagine what they'd given me if I'd done it. Got something else? You remember this? You're always gonna look like this. Forever. I gotta get old and get fat. They're all gone. Except me. But I'm not here. I don't know what to do. Let me tell you, the other day, I was at the grocery store. And I remember when I had to solve whether or not I could step here, whether or not I could step there. I can't even pick a cereal. There's 8 different types of milk, 17 types of orange juice. I don't know what's what. And a life and death decision, I can do that. But I can't pick out a box of cereal. There's no place for me here. This is the only place I feel comfortable. Why is that? I saw your son. Big 13. He misses you. Should have saved your life, man. Mine. Anyway, enough about it. You keep this. I don't need it. Happy birthday. I know. You want me to go?
No, it's okay. I'll go.
Good. What's another word for longitude?
Couch.
I get it. You don't think I can spell, huh?
Mm-hmm.
It's alright. I'll go. I got a pee anyways.
Okay.
Come on, buddy. Time to get to bed. Last week of summer school. And then you can stay up late. What are you doing? Look at UFOs?
Pedro.
Pedro? Who's that? Oh, I get it. My grandma used to name her angels too.
What did she name them?
Moses, Isaac, Keiko, Tyrone.
Those are funny names.
She was a funny lady. Now come on, cut it out. Let's get to bed.
Órale.
Orderly. Where'd you get that at?
Good night, Jefito.
Good night, son.
He's not an angel, Sadie.
Who?
Pedro.
What is he?
He's just a garbage man.
What's so funny?
Oh, nothing.
No, it's something. What? What is he doing?
Nothing. He just looking out his window, stargazing, I guess.
You guess?
Well, he said he was watching Pedro. I thought he meant like an angel or something. He said Pedro's a garbage man?
That's funny.
Yeah. He said, Orale, and call me.
Jefito.
Yeah, how'd you know?
He's been talking like that for the past few days.
Let me guess. Pedro, the garbage guy.
Yeah. I think you need to have a talk with him. I don't like him talking to him. All the kids follow him around, and I don't like it.
He's harmless.
Oh yeah? Well, Mrs. McGoy called me today to let me know how Alex is doing in her class.
So what?
So let me show you.
What's this?
Apparently, Alex draws all day in class.
Superman. Yeah. I remember when I first saw Superman, I had to mow a lot of it.
Guess it's not Superman.
And who is it?
It's Pedro.
Pedro? How do you know?
Yeah. Uh-huh. No, I understand. Uh-huh. Alright, well. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye. Alex, I just got a call from your teacher. She said that you're not doing your work in class and you just draw pictures all the time.
I could draw good, huh, Mom?
Yeah, but what are you drawing?
Can't you tell? It's Pedro.
Sweetie, Pedro's not a superhero.
How do you know?
Well, because he's a garbage man.
It's a great disguise.
Alex, listen, if you don't finish school, you're going to end up being two things in life. You're either going to be a ditch digger or a garbage man. What's so funny?
He's right, you know. It is a great disguise.
Gus.
Lily, he's a little boy. What's wrong with that? He's doing fine.
He has a low average. That's why he's having to take summer school to
Who
bring up his
cares,
grade.
Lily? He's in 4th grade. Cut him some slack.
I want him to do well. I want him to be able to get in the best college that he can.
He's not you. He's not me. He's Alex.
Gus, all the kids make fun of him.
So what? Because he's a little strange? Because he likes Vincent Van Gogh? What's wrong with that?
I just want us to be proud of him.
That's your problem. You want him to be proud of. You want to be proud of him. You want him to be like you. He's not like you.
He's just so
Don't
weird.
say it, Lily. Don't say it. He's unique. I don't know anyone else in the world like Alex. So what if he can't hit a baseball or shoot a basketball? He can name every constellation in the sky.
I just think he could do better.
Or worse. He'll be fine. You'll see. Give him a chance. Now, what's another word for someone who don't want to grow up? Something syndrome.
Pedro Pan.
77 Monte Carlo.
Pedro?
Hey, ¿qué onda ese?
¿Qué onda?
What's up ese? What you up to?
No, I'm just riding around.
Oh yeah? Hey, you wanna help me?
Sure.
There's a rag right there in the car.
Alright. What is this?
Dog tags.
Are they yours?
Mm-mm.
Whose are they?
Tyler.
Who's Tyler?
It's my best friend, man.
Am I your friend?
You're my friend.
Is it true that you're in the war?
Yeah, I was in the war.
Did he kill people?
I did what I had to do. Is that what they say about me?
Yeah,
What do you think about that?
it's not true.
No, it is true. Alright, but I didn't do that because I wanted to. Alright? I did that because I had to. I didn't have a choice. You'll understand that later.
I know what you can do. I saw you last night.
Imagination.